In 323 BC, Alexander the Great, master of an empire stretching from Greece to India, returned to Babylon. He stood at the pinnacle of power, his conquests legendary. Yet, unseen forces were gathering, poised to challenge this titan of history. The magnificent city of Babylon, intended as his empire's capital, welcomed Alexander. Beneath the celebratory facade, unease rippled. Ancient prophecies and omens, dismissed by the king, now gathered ominous significance around him. Babylonian priests warned Alexander against entering their city, citing dire omens. He had initially scoffed, but a series of misfortunes, including the death of a trusted friend, had begun to erode his once unshakable confidence. Just months prior, his dearest companion, Hephaestion, had died. Alexander's grief was profound, bordering on madness. He ordered extravagant mourning, a testament to a bond that profoundly shaped his reign and perhaps, his own health. His lamentations for Hephaestion continued, consuming him. Some historians suggest this intense grief, coupled with a punishing lifestyle, weakened his constitution. The king, once invincible, now carried a visible burden of sorrow. Even amidst his mourning, Alexander's ambition burned. He meticulously planned new expeditions, including a grand naval campaign into the Arabian Peninsula. His generals watched, sensing a desperate drive to outrun his sorrow through conquest. Late May 323 BC. After a day of feasting and drinking, Alexander began to feel unwell. A fever, initially dismissed as a minor ailment, soon took hold. No one yet grasped the gravity of this sudden, insidious onset. Alexander's legendary capacity for both feasting and drink was well known. Some accounts suggest a particularly long banquet preceded his illness. While not necessarily the cause, it certainly contributed to his weakened state and vulnerability. The fever intensified, shaking Alexander's powerful frame. Days turned into nights of relentless suffering. His body, accustomed to the rigors of battle, now succumbed to an unseen enemy, baffling his physicians and terrifying his court. The most skilled physicians of the age were summoned, but their knowledge proved insufficient. They administered various remedies, none making any impact. The king's illness was unlike any they had encountered, defying all known cures. As hope faded, Alexander's loyal army, anxious for their beloved leader, demanded to see him. They filed past his bed, a silent procession of hardened veterans. He struggled to acknowledge them, a final, poignant farewell to his men. With his last strength, Alexander attempted to give final instructions to his generals. He spoke of his burial wishes and the continuation of his empire. His voice was weak, but his authority remained, even on his deathbed. When asked who should inherit his vast empire, Alexander reportedly uttered, "To the strongest." This fateful phrase, perhaps a final challenge, would plunge his empire into decades of brutal conflict, tearing apart his grand vision. As his body failed, Alexander's ability to speak vanished. The once thunderous voice that commanded armies across continents was silenced. Communication became limited to gestures, a stark symbol of his fading life force. His closest generals, the Diadochi, watched their leader's final moments. They understood the immense power vacuum that would follow. The loyalty that held the empire together was about to be tested, perhaps beyond repair. The final soldiers passed, their silent farewell a heavy weight in the chamber. The bonds forged through years of shared hardship and conquest were now breaking. The legend, still breathing, was already slipping into history. On the evening of June 10 or 11, 323 BC, Alexander the Great drew his last breath. The greatest conqueror the world had ever known, still in his prime at 32, succumbed to an illness that remains debated by historians. The exact date of his passing is debated between June 10 and 11. But the consequence was undeniable. An era ended, and the world held its breath, wondering what would become of the colossal empire he left behind. The immediate aftermath was chaos. With no clear successor, the generals, once united by Alexander's vision, quickly fractured. Ambition and distrust festered, threatening to tear apart the very fabric of his hard-won empire. News of Alexander's death rippled through Babylon like a shockwave. The city that was to be his glorious capital now mourned its king. The future, once so clear under his command, was now shrouded in uncertainty and fear. Even his body became a point of contention. His generals fought over who would control his remains, a symbol of legitimacy and power. Ultimately, Ptolemy diverted the funeral procession to Egypt, establishing his claim to rule there. Alexander's death left a colossal void, not just in leadership, but in the very identity of his empire. The unity he forged through conquest now unraveled, paving the way for a new, tumultuous chapter in Hellenistic history. His generals, the Diadochi, turned on each other. For decades, they waged brutal wars, carving Alexander's empire into separate Hellenistic kingdoms. The dream of a unified empire died with its founder, replaced by fractured ambition. Though his empire fragmented, Alexander's legend only grew. His military genius, his cultural impact, and his dramatic, untimely end cemented his place as one of history's most compelling and enduring figures. The myth was born. The dust of time settles, but the echo of Alexander the Great's last days in Babylon resonates still. His life, a comet across the ancient world, left an indelible mark, forever changing the course of human history.